They never asked who you were, only who you reminded them of. The moment you step on the court, before your first bucket, before your first assist, the headlines are already written. The next Jordan. And just like that, your story isn't yours anymore. You're not playing to prove yourself. You're playing to prove you're someone you're not. Because Michael Jordan wasn't a player. He was a religion. And now they expect you to perform miracles. The shoes, you better wear them. The fadeaway, you better perfect it. The mindset, ruthless, relentless, untouchable. You're not allowed to stumble. You're not allowed to smile too much. You're not allowed to just be good. Being great isn't enough, because great doesn't sell magazines. Only ghosts do. And when they call you the next Jordan, what they're really saying is, you better be him, or you're nobody. They called him Baby Jordan. The bounce, the build, the flair. Harold Miner didn't ask for the nickname. It was given to him like a crown or a curse. USC Phenom, highlight reel monster. The kind of athleticism that makes scouts lean forward in their chairs. He could dunk from anywhere. So they said, he's next, just like that. But they didn't see what he lacked. The system, the coaching, the patience, the room to fail. Every missed shot wasn't just a brick. It was proof that he'd never be Jordan. Every average game, another article asking what went wrong. The nickname followed him everywhere. To practices, to interviews, to the bench. And the worst part? He started to believe it. Not that he was the next Jordan, but that if he wasn't, he was a failure. No one ever asked Harold Miner what kind of player he wanted to be. They only asked why he hadn't become someone else. And when the weight got too heavy, he walked away, 22 years old, out of the league. Not because his body gave out, because his identity did. They say pressure makes diamonds, but sometimes it crushes you. Being labeled the next Jordan isn't about basketball. It's about expectation. It is about stepping onto the court knowing that your worst night will be everyone else's headline. And your best? Still not enough. Because greatness in the shadow is no longer a destination. It's a measurement. They'll compare your stats, your jump shot, your mindset, your killer instinct. You don't get to evolve. You have to arrive, fully formed, as a legend. And when you don't, the crowd turns. The media turns. You turn on yourself. You start forcing shots. You mimic moves that don't fit your body. You fake the fire that made Jordan who he was, while burying the style that made you who you are. It's not just the game that gets harder. It's breathing. It's sleeping. It's walking into every arena knowing that you're not allowed to be human. Because when they call you the next, they're already telling you, you're not enough right now. Not until you become someone else. Most players break under the weight of the crown, but a few wear it anyway. Kobe Bryant didn't dodge the Jordan comparisons. He studied them. He chased them. He changed his voice, his footwork, even his swagger to mirror the myth. But Kobe didn't lose himself. He engineered himself. He wanted to be Jordan, not to copy him, but to conquer him. It wasn't imitation. It was obsession, weaponized, and it cost him isolation, criticism, a war with teammates and the media. But Kobe was willing to bleed for the legacy. He made the shadow his shelter. Most players drown in that darkness. He lived in it. Then there was LeBron James, dubbed the chosen one as a teenager. Tattooed the words across his back. Not next Jordan, chosen, different, singular. LeBron didn't want to be like Mike. He wanted to build his own mountain. He passed instead of scored, spoke out instead of staying silent, took his time, took the hate, and took control of his own story. That's why they survived, not because they were better athletes, but because they refused to be swallowed by the comparison. They didn't chase the ghost. They confronted it. You'd think we'd learn that after all the broken promises, all the ruined careers, we'd stop handing out ghosts for kids to chase. But the machine doesn't stop. It feeds on hope. On hype, on headlines. Zion Williamson was never just Zion. He was the most hyped prospect since LeBron. Every dunk went viral. Every injury became an accusation. They didn't care if his body was still healing. They only cared if his legacy was. Jalen Green, Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama. One great game, and the label begins. One bad stretch, and the questions start. Is he really built for this? Where's the killer instinct? Does he want to be great? We don't give them room to breathe. We hand them blueprints they never asked for, and then punish them for coloring outside the lines. Every generation has its own stars, but we keep forcing them to play roles written in 1996. We don't want players. We want sequels, and no one wants to admit it. But the comparisons, They don't come from respect. They come from fear. Fear that we'll never feel what we felt watching Jordan. Fear that the game has changed and we haven't. Michael Jordan isn't just a man. He's a moment frozen in time. Game winner. 6 rings. No Game 7. He became more than stats. He became a story we keep retelling, because nothing since has ever felt quite the same. But that myth, it doesn't grow in a vacuum. It's built on silence, on forgetting his failures, and only remembering the fists in the air. No one talks about the years he lost, the teammates who made the shots, the doubt he once carried. Because legends are easier to worship when they're not human anymore. And that's the trap. We tell young players, be better than him, but we don't tell them how. We just hand them a cape and say, fly like Mike, and when they stumble, we tear it all down. Not because they weren't good, but because they weren't perfect. Jordan's ghost isn't on the court anymore. It lives in the minds of every player trying to matter, trying to be more than a meme, trying to be more than a silhouette on a shoe. So here's the truth they never say out loud. Being the next Jordan doesn't make you a legend. It makes you a prisoner, because chasing a ghost isn't about greatness. It's about never catching it.